folks, it's book haul time again. So today is a bit of a monster vintage science fiction book haul. I've got, I don't know how many, over 100 books to get through, and I want to try and do it in one hit, so strap in, it's going to be quite a ride. So this first group I acquired in the Isle of Wight. I was there for a few days a week or two back, and in a couple of the charity shops there or thereabouts, and in one case a bookshop, I got some books. So the first of them is Robert Sheckley, The State of Civilization. It's not in terrible condition, it's a bit battered, but you know, it's okay. And then I got yet more science fiction, edited by Brian Oodles. I think I'm right in saying that I've got the first of these. Must be more Penguin science fiction, so that actually would be the second, this would be the third. Presumably the first one was just called science fiction. Anyway, so that's quite nice. It's from 1960 something, I think, priced in shillings and pence, so it's certainly pre-70s. Yeah, 64. And then in a bookshop, a little second-hand bookshop in Newport, I think, Werner Vinge, The Whitling, not one I've heard of his. Then we've got Paul Anderson's The Boat of a Million Years. It's quite a hefty book, which I understand is a sort of generation ship type tale. So you know, that's in quite nice condition. It's not a particularly old copy, I don't think. No, 1992. So it's a reprint from 1992. The Boat of a Million Years. I was looking for a brief description of what it's about, but I can't find it. Some of it, at least, has been short stories in the past. So I don't know what that is. I thought it was like a generation ship story, and judging by the picture on the front, I think that's what it is, but let me know if I've got that wrong. And then I was very happy to find in a charity shop, cost me £1 I think, Claire North's The First 15 Lives of Harry August. I haven't read this. I've read one, but have acquired a few of her books now, including this one. And this is the one for which she's probably best known. It's not really time travel. It's about a guy who gets to relive his life again, and sort of multiple versions of him eventually set up a sort of messaging system. As it says on the back here, as Harry nears the end of his 11th life, a little girl appears at his bedside. "I nearly missed you, Dr. August," she says. "I need to send a message." So presumably she wants to send a message back in time when he relives his life again. I don't know. But anyway, it's meant to be a very nice book, very good. So I'm looking forward to that. So that little lot all came from the Isle of Wight. The next batch were YouTube swapsies, actually. So in this case with Peter from West Coast Book Addict, a relatively new channel. You should look him up. He's been doing some hauls recently, and he and I got chatting, and we exchanged some books. So I have a pile of swaps down here that are duplicates I've been weeding out of my shelves, and so did he. So these all came from him. So we've got Other Days, Other Eyes by Bob Shaw, in quite nice condition. A little bit you know, creased on the spine, but quite keen to read more Bob Shaw. I enjoyed my first experience with The Ship of Strangers. And there's a slightly worn copy of Philip K. Dick's Preserving Machine and Other Stories, short story book. That's in pan. There is a pan lozenge version of this, I believe, which I obviously don't yet have. And then we've got John Brunner, Born Under Mars. Be a bit squished, wouldn't you, if you were born under Mars? But that is in very nice condition. Not much in the way of creasing or wear on the spine. The back's in nice condition. This one, judging by the pages, is reasonably old. Yeah, 1967, so it's an ace. So it's US printing. Then we've got Lifeboat by Harry Harrison and Gordon R. Dixon, he of Dorsai Trilogy fame. I think somewhere in this pile I might have another copy of this. This might be the first of two of this one. It is a bit spine faded, and that's leached into the back there, but it's in pretty good condition. A saboteur's bomb ripped through the hull of the seemingly indestructible galactic liner. Sounds a little bit Titanic-y, doesn't it? Leaving bare minutes for the survivors of the alien crew and the human cargo to evacuate ship. So that sounds exciting. And then there's a Wilson Tucker, Wild Talent. I have one of his other books, but I haven't read it yet. Bit creased on the spine, but in pretty good condition. And then also from Peter, the first astounding science fiction anthology. It's edited by John Campbell. It's a little bit creased on the spine, but is in actually pretty good condition for what's a fairly old book. I think it's priced in shillings, so it'll be from the 60s. 1964. It's a 4-square edition, so the first time it was printed by 4-square. Quite a nice cover. And then at Silverberg, I have this in the yellow SF Masterworks, so quite pleased to have it in a different cover. It's in very good condition. This is, I think I'm right in saying, yeah, a first edition paperback from Pan in from 1981, and it's in very nice condition. There's the slightest hint of a crease on the spine, but nothing much. The front and the back are in really nice condition. The text block's not too faded. I'd like to get this in hardback, but it's a little bit more expensive than I'm willing to pay at the moment, which means it's over £10. And then also from Peter, a couple of Heinleins. Robert A. Heinlein, Between Planets. Looks like a bit of a ship from Star Wars, that one, the Imperial Shuttle, doesn't it? And then this one, what's it called? The Past Through Tomorrow, Volume 1, so presumably there's at least a Volume 2 somewhere. This is in really nice condition. Nice spaceship on the front, the spine's very clean, and the back is also pretty good. And this is from 1982, so it's not first edition, first published in the UK by New English Library in 1977. So it's a reprint, but it's nice, in good condition. Yes, so this is a collection of his short stories, and it's got a timeline in it which he sort of pins the stories to, just to tell a bit of a story. It's got an introduction by Damon Knight in the front as well. So it's quite nice. So I've got a second batch of books on its way from Peter. I think there might only be one in this batch, and I sent him a few. So it's good to be whittling down my spares pile and getting some books in return, and good to make contact with another science fiction fan on YouTube. So the next batch, before I get into them, I'll tell you a little story. So a chap that I chatted to a bit on a Discord channel that I'm a member of, which is related to Moid's channel, Media Death Cult. And he mentioned that he had some spares that he was going to take to a charity shop, and he said that he was getting rid of some spares. So my virtual ears pricked up, and then as luck would have it, he lives in Richmond, and which is where my office is. I don't go in very often, but when I do, it is in Richmond. So we arranged to meet the next day. I went to his house to pick them up, and I came away with something like 60 books, and some of which were duplicates, and so there's less than 60 here to go through. And then the following week or the week after, he had some more spares, and did I want them? And of course I said yes. So I think there's 90 just from him ish that we'll go through. So Robert Randall, which is actually a hybrid person of Robert Silverberg and Randall Garrett. I think it's some of Silverberg's earlier work. It's in very nice condition. It's an Ace edition, so it's from the US. What's it called? The Shrouded Planet. I think this was published fairly early, 1957. So I didn't think Silverberg was established as a writer in his own right then, so this was a leg up for him, I guess. And then there's another Silverberg, Next Stop the Stars, which has an introduction by the author as well. So that's also an Ace edition. It's a remaindered stock, but in pretty nice condition. So another one to add to my Silverberg collection. The Seed of Earth by the same fella. It's in pretty nice condition. There are actually two of this one, so I can't be dealing with duplicate books on my shelves at the moment, even if they are both interesting covers. I'm having to pick just for reasons of space. I'm shelf constrained at the moment. So this one is from 1978. It's actually a UK first edition in paperback, so that's the reason I kept this one. And then here's another Silverberg. This one is also an Ace, Collision Course, again with an introduction by Silverberg. This one's not quite as in nice condition. It's a bit tatty there. I haven't tried to remove those price tags yet, but at some point I will. Collision Course is a novel of the future that has been out of print for too long. After 4 centuries of space travel, mankind seemed to be supreme in the universe until the discovery of an advanced alien empire threatened to destroy everything. So all of that in a book that's 160 pages. And if my 2 Silverberg books that I've read so far are anything to go by, that'll be great. Another one, Stepsons of Terror. This one's in very nice condition. It's a Sphere science fiction. Back's very nice too. Give you another look at the cover. It's from 1979, and then there's a Hamlin. There's a few Hamlins in this batch, not all Silverbergs, that are very nice actually. I've not really seen very many of those, so I'll be looking out for them. This again is in very nice condition. There's really nothing wrong with it. Perfect mint condition paperback. This one's got kind of wraparound art. 1978. So, you know, considering that's what, 45 years old, it's really in very nice condition. And then we've got some Robert Heinlein's The Star Beast. Nice cover. 8-legged kangaroo alien in very nice condition. There's the back. Assignment in Eternity. And I also have Assignment in Eternity Volume 2. So I'm not sure if they're short stories. I think so. Might be a fix-up, I'm not sure. But anyway, those two go together. So another nice addition to my Heinlein library. And then I've got Beyond This Horizon. Again, in very good condition. Judging by the pages, it's from the 70s. Yeah, 78, first edition in the NEL. And then Space Cadet by the same author. Nice picture. Let's wrap around art onto the back as well. Again in the New English Library. I would say late 70s. Oh, beg your pardon. This is a reprint from 1987. And then, very exciting, Waldo and Magic Inc. I had a copy of this in a different format. I've jettisoned that one now. It's in my spares pile in favour of this one, which is in the pan lozenge, which I'm gradually collecting with the aim of getting all of them. We'll see. I've got a few more on the way. I bought mail order, if you like, that haven't arrived yet, so they'll be in a future haul. So that's in the pan, the white spine. And there's another one of the Silverberg collaborations, writing as Robert Randall, The Dawning Light, this one. So next up we've got some E. Doc Smiths. So these are the classic Family d'Alembert series, which after reading up a little bit about them, weren't actually written, strictly speaking, by E. Doc Smith. You can see it's got a small credit under his name there, E. Doc Smith with Stephen Godin. You see that at the top there? But actually, these were really written after E. Doc Smith died. He'd left a sort of outline of the first of these books, which Stephen Godin based the rest of them off. I don't know if there was an outline for the others as well, but there are, I think, 10 in the series. So that's the first one, The Imperial Stars. Nice condition. I think this was these were published in the 80s, if I remember rightly. This one was in 76, so but the back half of the series was published in the 80s. So this is a reprint from 1979, and this is part 2, Strangler's Moon. Strangler's Moon? Yeah, Strangler's Moon. Again in very nice condition, very sharp. Same for the back. This would have been late 70s as well, I think, 1979. And then here's the third, A Clockwork Traitor. Again in very nice condition, from the late 70s. Yeah, that was from 1978. And then Gateway World, which is, I think, the fourth book. Yep. Again in very sharp condition. There's nothing wrong with it. It's basically mint. Very nice. And I don't have 5, so this is book 6, The Purity Plot. So I'm missing book 5, which I will now obviously feel obliged to find. And nor do I have book 7 or 8 or 10, but I do have 9. And this one of the lot is the one that's in slightly tatty condition. The front cover's fine, and the spine is a bit creased. But of the 6 of them, 5 of them are in really tip-top condition, so I can't complain. So yet more books from Rob, from whose collection these came. Free to me, again, I sort of intercepted them on their way to charity, so it's very kind of him. There's a Piers Anthony book, Chaos Mode. There's I'm not sure if it's a trilogy or a series of 4 books in this Mode series. I have one of them. Yeah, I have Fractal Mode. So Chaos Mode here, this one is the 3rd. Virtual Mode must be the first one. I'm not sure if Fractal Mode is the 2nd or the 4th. So I don't have the full series. They'll turn up eventually and I will complete the set. There's somebody I haven't heard of before, Fred Saberhagen. What's this one called? Berserker's Planet. So that sounds a little bit like sort of Conan the Barbarian type thing. Don't know much about it, but it's in fine condition. It's an ace from the US. Alien Embassy by Ian Watson, which is another ace. It's slightly worn compared to some of them, but in really still quite good condition. There's the rare. So that has I don't know, a sheep or a goat skull with a slumbering lady on the front as well. So who knows what that's about. Alien Embassy. So Lila was one of those who could, by diving deep within herself, emerge in outer space. The few who could make that journey were honoured above all other mortals. Already the secrets brought back by the mind travellers have transformed Earth from the pigsty of the 21st century, that's us by the way, to the paradise of the 22nd. But Lila was to learn something beside which the secrets brought back by previous psychic astronauts would pale to insignificance. She was to learn the truth, and it would not make men free. So I'm guessing the aliens came back somehow. And then a strange thing, War World it's called. I'm not sure if, and it says created by Joe Pornell, so I'm not sure this is the first one, I think. Yeah. From what I gather, it's a series upon which different authors have collaborated or have written different editions of the series. So volume 1, it doesn't mention anyone else, so I'm guessing that this one was written by Joe Pornell, but there's also some of the others are written by the likes of Paul Anderson, Mike Resnick, David Drake and others. It looks like they're either short stories or chapters written by different authors, but there's certainly more than one volume of it. And then talking to Paul Anderson, here's a Paul Anderson, There Will Be Time. Nice picture. And again, in very nice condition. This is a sphere, SF, and in very nice condition. Okay, let's go. So a few Clifford Simacs, Shakespeare's Planet, in a Mayflower, which I think was a Magnum books are published by Methuen paperbacks. Yeah, so it's a Methuen imprint. Nice picture on the front. It's in very nice condition. Nice wraparound art. And then another Simac, which is in the livery that I was getting very excited about a couple of book hauls ago. I've got 2 in this livery with the funny diamond thing for the A. And the artwork on these is sensational. I really like it. So I made the mistake of committing to collecting them and then went to find out how many there are. And at last count, there are about 30, Simac being a fairly prolific author. And it seems like Methuen went hell for leather on publishing, if not his entire bibliography, a decent chunk of it in the 1980s. So I've got quite a few of them to get. I feel committed now, despite only being like a 15th of the way in. So that is Methuen. Is that right? Yeah, right way up, and it's in very nice condition. So this one is Special Deliverance, which I think is. There were 6 ill-assorted players of the strangest game ever devised. Set on a strange planet, they knew neither its rules or its aim. There was the giant blue cube, the ruined city, the singing tower, the roaring wall of chaos, wherever that is, and all deadly dangerous. All part of the challenge that the unwilling travellers must confront. But what was it all for? And would they survive to find out? I don't believe I've read any Clifford Simac, so it's about time I got my skates on. So another Simac, this is the best of, edited by Angus Wells. So short stories, very nice. And then we've got Destination Doll. Don't see many of these, in a Sidgwick and Jackson paperback. I'm familiar with them as a hardback publisher. I didn't realise they had a paperback imprint. It seems like, and don't quote me, I think somewhere I've seen, yes, published by Sidgwick and Jackson in association with New English Library. So I wonder if New English Library just printed it for them and just plopped their livery on it. Very nice. Destiny's Doll, that looks a bit odd. And then we've got a few Brian Staplefords in Hamlin science fiction art, and I haven't seen many of those, but I've got a few in this batch. They're quite nice. Brian Stableford, The City of the Sun. And then I've got The Angel of Pain, which is something to do with, I think it's more fantasy than science fiction, but something to do with ancient Egypt. I should have said that the city, this one, The City of the Sun, is the fourth of a series, I'm not sure of how many, of the Daedalus mission. And the Florians is also in that series, and I think the Florians might be the first of them. So I've got book 1, but not book 2. Again, this is in the Hamlin. All lovely jubbly. And there's more. So some A. Van Vogt's Rogue Ship in a Panther. Nice illustration. It's got a bit of spine creasing, but is in otherwise very tight condition. Priced at 50p, so it'll be early 70s, yeah, 1975. Right, so we've got some more A. Van Vogt. First one up is Supermind, which is in New English Library, and it's very nice. Not much wrong with it. It's got a bit of a sticker residue on the back, which I will attempt to remove. Moon Beast, which I think I had a duplicate of, so I've jettisoned the other one because this is in nicer condition. Panther. It'll be from the mid to late 70s, judging by the price. And then we've got The War Against the Roll, again, which I had probably 2 other copies of, and I've kept this one because it's in the nicest condition, and it's quite a cool picture on the front. Spine's in good nick, the rear's in good nick, a couple of dings on it, but generally speaking, it is in nice condition. I'm still yet to read an A. Van Vogt. I'm going to, though, in September, I'm going to read the Voyage of the Space Beagle. So A. Van Vogt, The Undercover Aliens. And then we've got The House That Stood Still. That is a US edition of some kind. It's not an ace. A paperback library science fiction novel. And we've got Earth's Last Fortress. And then I have John Brunner, another John Brunner, The Long Result. A little bit tatty on the spine, but it is priced in shillings, so it's going to be a 1960s. 1965, so considering it's well over 50 years old, nearest to 60 years old, then it's in very nice condition really. It's just the spine, the front cover and the back are in nice condition, just looking a bit used on the spine. The Hugo winners, 1968 to 1970, edited by Isaac Asimov. I've got the following 3 of these in hardback that I found on a very nice special day in a charity shop. They were just there on the shelf. I got them, perfect condition. So it's nice to get these ones. And there's some cracking books on here. There's Weir Search by McCaffrey, which is part of the first of the Dragon Riders of Pern books. It was published previous to its publication as a novel, as a short story. There's a Philip Jose Farmer, there's a Fritz Lieber, there's a Harlan Ellison, that's a I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, quite a well-known one. There's Night Wings by Silverberg. There's another Ellison, The Beast That Shouted Love at the Heart of the World. And there's a Samuel R. Delany, Time Considered as a Helix of Semi-Precious Stones. It's quite a mouthful for a story. So there's some pretty nice work in there. I really must read more short stories. But that's in nice condition. It's a little bit creased on the spine, but it's otherwise in good nick. Last but not least is another Simac that escaped the pile somehow. Time is the Simplest Thing. It's quite an old one. Pan, and it's from 1961, so it's well over 60 years old. It's a bit scribbled on and a bit scrappy, but okay. We're just over half an hour in now, so I think there's still a lot to do, so I think I'm going to break this into 2 videos. So this will go out and then the rest will follow, so you have to stay tuned for that. Alright, but until next time, bye for now.